to get started. I know it's sometimes daunting code, MCP, all these new things. So we're going to go through this demo. We'll look to create more immersion days following in the year so that you can just have a lab-like session. But we didn't want to wait until then. So over to you, Mark, in terms of the idea of why we did this so early.
All right. So like Chris said, I'm terrible at writing code. It's not something I ever spent my life doing. There are some brilliant code writers out there, and hats off to anybody who can write code. I can read it, but this is an example of a Python script. It's a security MCP server. It has 300 lines long. And what this is an MCP that I just wrote up very quickly using the agent, using Kiro, and I'll explain Kiro in a second. But basically, I said, I want an MCP that can go into Security Hub and give me information. So before I go and explain a whole load of other things, I can very quickly just make sure it's enabled. Yes, it is. And I can say, using the AWS. Actually, I'll say, what are the top security?
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is Kiro. So
yeah, and I'll explain Kiro in just a second, but I just wanted to show very, very quickly, and thanks for reminding me that, Chris. But essentially, I'm going to go through some of this process of what I did in a minute. But essentially, we've created this MCP. This is going to use Kiro. It's an agent that's going to be able to go away. I've got it hooked up to my AWS account. And what it's going to do is it is going to use what was created here, and it's going to go away and do it. Now, remember when I spoke about the agent and it does that chain of reasoning, the planning, the thinking, and so on? That's exactly what it's doing on the screen now. So you can see that it's going, I'm going to check the Security Hub findings. It's calling the MCP tool that's in here, which is Security Hub get findings, and it's pulled this information out. Really quick, really simple. Yes, I know I could go to the console, but actually, I can now interact with this and I can ask it questions as well. So I could ask questions like, hey, which regions are they in? How does this region compare to another region? How does that compare against another account, and so on? Very quickly, I know I've done that. So what I'm using here is Kiro. We launched this last year. Kiro is our IDE for development and coding. And when you use this, you've got the ability to do what we call vibe coding. Everybody's heard the term. I just want to write something. And that's how I do a lot of stuff if I just want to get something done and get some questions done. Or we've got the spec-driven approach, which is it will go through what are your requirements. Let me create a design document. Let me create a task list. So if you recall, I said I built an entire application in 2 days. I was using the spec-driven approach. These are my requirements. I reviewed the design. We ran through all the tasks. What we're going to do today is we're going to use the vibe coding. When you're looking at Kiro and when you install it, so you install Kiro, you can use this. It's got the ability to have a terminal, so I can do things at a terminal level there if I want to. When you set it up, I've just put it into a folder structure here that we've built, that I've just created for you here. I can search. I can go through. This is my MCP section. These are the MCPs that are enabled. I can use a steering document that says this is how I want you to behave. I can do my specs and so on that come out of the spec-driven approach. But where I wanted to jump to, that's really, I think this is pretty amazing, is we've introduced something called powers. So we've got these pre-built knowledge centers for things. I've introduced build with agent strands and build an agent with strands and with Bedrock Agent Core. And I'm going to demo building with strands. So what that means, I don't need the experience or the knowledge to build an agent using the Strand SDK to do that. Kiro is going to take everything that it knows through that power, and it's going to build it. We're going to do it in real time now. Because this was aimed at edge infrastructure, we're going to build one that's specifically for being able to help me find information relating to things like policies, relating to web application firewall across my environment. Right, super quick and easy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, I want you to start thinking about what are the things that you could potentially do. So you saw all the stuff that Miriam was talking about, those architectures that were built out, and there were a lot of questions, do we have code for this or not? What I want to show you here is how quickly you can do a proof of concept. You can prototype something which you can then build out. So if I very, very quickly go over here, just going to drop this. This is a prompt that I wrote up. Just say I want to create a Strands agent that'll be able to help me find information relating to any policy supported by AWS Firewall Manager, deployed by Firewall Manager, or is local within the accounts. I want to be able to compare the rules, identify improvements, recommendations, and identify any potential gaps in coverage. So let's start. Now what you're going to see is Kira's going to run through this. Okay, it's going to help me. Notice here what it's done now is it's activated that power. So it's now loading in all the parts that it needs. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually just have a look at any files or folders that are local within my environment that I've got here already. And it's going to start working on building this. That's right. Now I'm going to build this agent. And it's going to go through. And you can see it's starting to build this firewall policy agent Python file. And actually, if I pull this up really quickly, we might even see it created in real time, right? So you can see it writing up. This does take a few minutes, but the beauty of this is I don't need to code this. I can use this, I can come straight into it, and there we go. So what's happened here is it says, this is what it is. I'm writing a firewall policy analysis agent. I need these features. Here's the code. This is the system prompt. So this is what tells the agent what it is and how it's going to function and what it's going to do. And this is effectively the configuration of it. One thing I am going to change very quickly is, if I can find it, where's the, there we go, over here. I'm just going to do that just because I wanted specifically to go to this particular, I'm going to this particular model. We're going to file, save. So that's written this up, and what you can see here, this is the system prompt. These are all the things that it's going to do. The role of the agent is to help users do all of this stuff. And then here's some information that is pulled. Because I'm already logged into my AWS accounts environment, I've got a profile set up, so it's already pulled information out. From that, it's telling me these are the common regions to check because those are the ones that I use most often. And we just wait for it to finish. Here it's created a README. It's created a document that tells me exactly what I need to do to get this running. So let's do it. So I think it's already done that. There we go. Let me just wait for it to finish. It's just testing it. So it's actually creating a set of test files as well while it's doing this. And if we open that file, you can see what it's actually going to do. The example query test agent. There it is there. So this is the test agent file that it's just created. It's going to check dependencies, credentials, agent can be initialized, all the tools are properly registered and so on. So it's built all of this for me. You can see here, 183 lines. It's created this agent. This agent is including everything, 350 lines. You can see how quickly this has taken about 6 minutes so far while I've been talking and while we've been building. There we go. It's done. I'm going to run it. It's checking the environment. It's checking everything. And actually, there we go. This is my agent. So let me just get rid of these quickly. Right. Just so that everybody can see that. What I can do is I've got a couple of slightly complex queries that I've written up before. So in my accounts, I've got some rules. I've got things like I've got a few WAFs deployed. I've got some SQL injection rules. And what I noticed is that I've got some discrepancies between two regions. So I can just say I'm having some discrepancies between London and Frankfurt SQL injection protection. Why is this happening? And what it's going to do is it's going to analyze that question. fingers crossed, this is a live demo. This is going to work. But essentially, it's looking through. I'm looking at all the WAF rules. Rather than me having to go and actually look at everything, I can do this here. The aim here is, there we go, key findings. So I've noticed, oh, hang on, what is it saying here? This one's configured for version 1. Everything here is set to block, but actually this part over here is set to capture. So what it's done is, you can see we've created the agent. It's very quickly gone, pulled the configurations back from the WAF rules, compared them, and then it's coming back to saying, actually, these are the issues, right? And it gives me a whole lot of information, and it'll tell me, basically how to fix them. I can also say, actually, I want to compare something else, right? I'm trying to figure out why some traffic is allowed in Frankfurt but blocked in London. Both locations use an IP set. Are they configured correctly? So again, it's using the same context that it's picked up before. It's looking at it. It knows where to go and what to do. It's looking at this. And what it's going to come back with, and what it's telling me, is, yes, there are some differences. We'll wait till it gets to the end. So what is, if we go through here, it's saying, what are we going to find? And this is the danger with doing, right, so it's identified there's an issue. It's saying, would you like me to synchronize them? Do you need information? And if we scroll up through here, we should find that it's actually different. This is, as I said, this is when you do live demos and where you've been experimenting, you can find yourself in a bit of a pickle, really. But let's have a look. So let me ask what the differences are between the IP sets. Because I couldn't see what it actually called out. There we go. This is what I was looking for, is it actually goes in and it's starting to look at, if I scroll down, it starts to look at what the IP ranges are. Notice over here, it's saying there's a different IP range. And then it gives a whole lot of information. Right. Sorry, if you notice me looking over here, I'm just looking at my screen. So I know those were really simple examples, but you notice I wrote no code. I mean, the time now is 11:46. We started back on this at 11:30. I was talking, Chris was talking. We started at about 11:35 when I started doing that. Within the last 11 minutes, I've created an agent. So I've got it running locally on my machine. It's integrated with my AWS account, and it's pulling information back quicker than potentially what I'd be able to go and do the troubleshooting myself, right? Now I've got this just as an example here. I've got another agent that I've actually created previously on, this is to do with identity and access management, right? This one's a little bit longer. It's about 1,000 lines long, but this one is actually going, it's specifically for me to go and query against identity and access management. Which accounts and how many roles and users have I got? How many unused accounts are there? How many unused roles are there? How many roles don't have, or do any roles have policies that are out of date or not configured? So you can use these to very quickly go through, do a prototype, and then spend some time and going, actually, that's great, this works, the idea works, how can we build this and scale it across our organization? And then you go and you can start looking at some of the infrastructure architectures that Miriam was showing earlier, where you were seeing things like we were building it in with Bedrock, with DynamoDB from a database perspective, integrating these into different services. So behind the scenes here, what I've got is I've got an agent that's actually making a direct call to Bedrock. So if you recall in this file here, in the policy file, I changed the Where is my large language model? So this is what it's calling, and you'll notice this. So this is the token size, the temperature. Obviously, lower temperature gives you more factual analysis, but this is the actual model that I'm using. That's in the background. It's calling Bedrock directly. You can see this was super quick. This makes for rapid prototyping. It makes for extremely easy testing to prove something, to help you. Now, yes, we've got security agent that has been built in the background, does a lot of comprehensive tasks. But this is the kind of thing that you can take and you can use for your own teams. You can write these things up. You can pretty much, whatever your imagination is, you can start building these. The point that I really wanted to show you here was how easy this is to do, right? You saw I wrote no code. There was no code in there from an agent to start off with. It wrote everything for me, got it right, and I was able to use it. Could I tweak this? Absolutely. This was just straight out of the box. There's nothing additional that we did. I can tweak the prompt to be a bit more specific in the way it responds. I can make it more concise. I can give it additional information. I can also say, actually, I want this agent to be, in this case, it's using Firewall Manager service, so it's looking at that particular service. But I can create agents to do just about anything that I want, right? I can make it so that in here, I can even, if you recall, it said, do I want to synchronize those IP sets? If I'd have said yes, this agent that I created has the ability and the permissions to go and make those changes for me, but only after I tell it to. So I'm going to stop there. I know I've been through this very quickly, but the point is, it is that quick to build something like this. You don't need to do a huge amount of developing or coding anymore. This would have taken people, this could have taken people an entire, half a day or more for an experienced coder to figure out what it is that I want to do, what are the API calls that I need to make, how do I integrate it with AWS, how do I integrate it with Bedrock, and then build this all together and then test it. We've done this in less than 10 minutes.
Mark, kind of looking at the future, and one of the questions is, can you query information that's only in a console and not via an API?
So remember, all of the information in a console has been pulled via API and exposed to you.
Yeah, one of the things that you might have seen Miriam cover is Agent Core has a browser.
I was just about to go into that. So in this case, I'm using Strands Agent. This is just, and it's local on my machine. I could push this into Agent Core, right? So I could push this agent into Agent Core, and I could actually attach it to the browser component, the Agent Core browser. And I could say, use the browser to log into the console, screen scrape the information, pull that information out, and then do something with that. So in the case of where you don't have API access, so maybe not an AWS console, maybe a normal website or a web page that you want to pull information from that doesn't have APIs, I could create an agent that uses a headless browser. It goes to that web page, it takes a screenshot, it scrapes the information off, it does optical character recognition, it pulls the information in, it'll summarize that data, and it'll provide that back. I've done that when I was experimenting with some stuff in Agent Core, and it works fairly well. Yeah. So yes, you can do that.
And there's many models like Nova Act, which are tuned to controlling web browsers. And so you can use natural language, and it just understands what it's looking at, understands the different digital environments. So that use case is going to be very easy to do. So you don't have to just use an API.
Yep. Yeah, and there's a lot of I'm just trying to catch up. Obviously, I've missed a lot of questions in the in the chat there. But obviously, if anybody wants to ask any questions as well, just please do ask. I know we've only got 8 minutes left. I always want to try and be respectful of people's time because they've given up a huge commitment. Hopefully, this just kind of showed you what's possible in a very, very, very short time frame. Hopefully it gives you an idea. So start thinking of some of those things that you want to do. Start thinking of how do you make use of this? How can you make use of some of these tools that you've got to go down this approach? and see what you can come up. I'd be super interested to see what people start making and start coming out with.
Yeah, in summary, we're going to be sending out QR code to give us feedback. But what we're seeing is, at the beginning, 2025, it was like read only, right? You would go into a chat, you had to build the trust in your organization, build your trust that what is it actually doing. We're moving to the place where we're saying write and approve with agents, right? Having Mark in the middle or you in the middle to approve what it's coming back with, right? We do dry runs and then we do it helping pull in lots of this information, the logging. I am hoping there's customers like you on the call that by the end of the year might have an autonomous agent that takes one of your day-to-day tasks that maybe is identify job 4 signatures. I hear that a lot. Can I help me identify job 4 signatures and help me build a rule? Well, that's very maybe customized to your organization. Can you build something like that, taking some data and then automatically then push it to production? Maybe there's an approval process. Obviously, reverse actions and guardrails, but the tools are there and they're coming. They're going to become much easier as the year goes on to use, right? Future state, I don't know. We put some things on here. Shweta, Miriam, Mark, what do you think, future state? You guys do a prediction for next year. This year. We kind of saying more AI security tools, but what do you guys think?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I think personally, productivity is where it's at least for the next few months, for people to really start seeing the benefits and the return on investments. And I think once they start seeing the investments on productivity gains, whether it be through efficiencies in things like this, I think this is going to help businesses evolve pretty rapidly. So this is where they're going to start seeing that. In terms of agents, I think we're going to start seeing very complex multi-agent systems that are going to be doing a lot of the background stuff to help scale and grow. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be an all-out replacement. I think it's going to be an augmentation. It's going to be people working together. And I think it's all about, it's not that AI is necessarily going to replace you as a person. I think it's more a case of how AI is going to be able to complement you and use your knowledge to be able to get the AI agents to do things, because you have the wisdom, you have the experience. The AI agents have got all the documentation and can write the code, but without the ideas coming from somewhere and having people drive that, I think that's how we're going to see them working closely together. So that's my thoughts, at least, anyway.
Miriam, Shweta, wrap up.
Yes, I think just quickly because we are out of time. I think that this year, people and even companies will start to use AI, because last year, as both Mark and Chris were saying, it was more about more theoretical or trying to understand what AI really means and how you can adapt AI. But this year, I think it will be like rapidly adapting AI in your business. And as in cybersecurity, we'll have this concern of how malicious actors are using AI to be more quick and scalable. And from the other side, from inside, how to use AI to protect ourselves in a more faster and better optimized way, right? Yeah, that's my view.
Yeah, so I agree with Shweta and Mark, but maybe what I would like to add is like 2026, we are moving from the theoretical and the bubble that we are hearing about AI to a more practical use cases in the industry. So we will start hearing from organization what are the different security agent pattern that we are supposed to see. We'll start standardizing the communication between agents, MCP, A to A, yeah, hierarchy, reflection between agents is going to be like more mature integration. From security point of view, I see, yes, we need to focus on two topics: securing agentic AI, and then the security, what kind of security AI may provide for us. So it is like a win-win market, I guess. So yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for taking 3 hours of your time. This year is going to be very fast. We wanted to reach out to you. Please send, we're going to send an email with feedback and the PowerPoints and the video. Look forward to seeing you out throughout the year, and go out there and build.
Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate everything that people have given today, and thanks very much for the interaction. Hope you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend when it arrives. Thank you.
See you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye bye.